Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Good evening, y'all. My name is Shanalee Sharboneau. I am an awarded author, model, spokesperson, but I'm not as impressive as our next guest this evening that we have by the name of Rox Burkey. Hi, Rox. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Shanalee.
So you are pretty impressive, lady. You have written some pretty amazing books, won some pretty amazing awards. And I'm not talking just one or two. It is a series called the Enigma. And how many books do you have out right now, dear?
Oh, right now there are 10 out in the series.
Wow.
It's going to come out in, I don't know, January.
So this series, you know I'm a sci-fi junkie. Very love the sci-fi, and this whole series is about a decoding machine, and you actually took history, something that occurred in history, and kind of rode with it. So can you describe what the Enigma machine is and what it actually really did for us?
Oh, there you go. Well, the Enigma machine was actually something the Germans used during World War II to encrypt their military plans, and it helped them be very, very successful. In 1939, when they invaded Poland, a copy of the machine was taken by our good guys, and the other copy of it was sent to Britain, who later decoded it and won World War II. Our good guys took it to Switzerland and built their own information empire as a family kind of organization called the R Group. And we bring them all the way to modern day as part of this series, so that it's the cyber good guys versus the cyber thugs.
You know what's amazing is that we don't really stop and think that this occurred back in World War II. I mean, we're so involved in, oh my gosh, there's a cyber security issues going on and my information is being stolen, but this happened way back when, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. It was actually the first computer. So all of that information that was done helped get our little cell phones and our little tablets and our little data eaters that are in the cloud.
So how do you take that Enigma machine and how did you create the series? Because that's pretty interesting nonetheless. So now you've created the series. So tell me how that kind of flows into the Enigmas.
Well, because they actually built an information empire, we actually take technology problems that people face every day. So things like identity theft, as an example, which is where the series actually begins. And we strike a balance between the moral high ground of the R Group and trying to get the bad guys and trap them and or eliminate the problem that they're causing as they're, hunting on and preying on mankind. And not yesterday's mankind, but today's mankind. So things that we see in the news all the time. So another example would be the latest book, which is book 10, The Enigma Source. It actually focuses on cryptocurrency. So it's, how safe is cryptocurrency? How much fun is cryptocurrency? Who's going to win cryptocurrency? So it's those kinds of things that we focus on. So we take real technology that's available today, and then we wrap it around travel and, relationships between people, maybe a little bit of humor now and then, because that's just part of life. And we solve a problem of some sort.
I bet, I'm sure I'm going to be buying a book after this, but I bet reading your book would probably freak most people out. It sounds like a series that would make you believe or understand what really could happen in today's world, or what's even happening now, and we don't even know it.
Well, exactly. Yeah, people don't think there's a problem. They never do.
Wow. So how did you can't fake understanding like security and cryptocurrency. So who is Rox? I mean, how did you get to write such an interesting story?
Well, that's a good question. So actually my co-author and I, Charles Breakfield, we both have technology backgrounds. So I personally have over 25 years in the technology field, and I've worked with the major manufacturers, so I understand how it has evolved over time. And knowing that and bringing that into the stories does help bring the reality of the content. They are also based on characters that we've met and come across, over the travels of time. People are very odd. People are strange.
Has anybody ever read your book and said, "Wait a minute, am I Barbara? Is that me?"
I actually have a couple people that have asked specifically, and they were right. It was them. So.
It's really scary. I had read from a source that said that really there's, and I don't know if this is true, maybe you can answer this, but there's nothing you can do. Like literally the only reason why somebody doesn't have your information is kind of luck and grace, if you will. Is that true? And the reason why I'm asking that is we actually did have, and it's interesting because it's just in the news, but my husband and I went to Africa about 2 years ago with my 7-year-old at the time. And a woman, I never make purchases on an airplane, and a woman had grabbed my card just for a very small purchase and kept it for a long time, to a point where I actually got up out of my seat and said, "Can I have my card back?" It was my husband's card, and I knew it had a high limit on it. And she finally did, and about 4 days later in Africa, we logged it to the account only to find out that it was burning, yes. And now the 3 or 4 stewardess that just got arrested off the plane for kiting money, one of those women is the woman who took my husband's credit card.
Nice.
So it's really scary to see how fast that was. I mean, you tell my instincts were kicking in, but I mean, unless I pinned her down on the floor and said, "Spit it up," which I should have, even though I would have been pulled off the plane. So is there anything that we can avoid the Enigma series happening to us, or are we just doomed?
So I think that we are all potential targets. And so things like changing your passwords very frequently across the board. We all have all of these accounts. Things like making sure that your devices are locked. And I mean locked so that your 8-year-old can't get into them, kind of locked. It should either be your swiping and your thumbprint or something like that. I mean, a really scary thing is we did a show in Irving, North Texas Comic Book Convention. And, we're out there having a show. There's lots of people. They're milling around. They're having a great time. And then all of a sudden there's a lull. You know how crowds go around. They're there and then they're gone and they're there. And there was this wonderful i10 phone sitting on the table. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty weird. And I picked it up and I thought, I'm sure they'll come back for it. And I wonder whose it is. And I touched the screen. It was wide open. Not only was it wide open, but it had passwords I could see. So they were in clear text. And it was just like, I just don't believe this. It had personal information on it, including things like date of birth, driver's license number. There was no social security number. And I didn't even have to look hard. I mean, I didn't do any kind of serious searching. So, and it was very funny because about 20 minutes later, so 20 minutes, I could have easily scammed all of that information if I was one of the cyber thugs. It rang. It kind of made a ding song. Well, she had made a purchase someplace else on the floor, and the receipt was going to her iPhone. And that must have been when she realized it was no longer in her possession.
Wow.
So, and she finally came around. Here she is, 17 years old, brand new phone. How much do those things cost? And why didn't your mommy tell you to put a password on there?
Right, because your mom's not in security and wrote the Enigma series.
So I did sit there while she put a password on it, but it was very surprising to me because parents aren't teaching their children. And you and I've kind of had this conversation before. We have to guide our young people on where to go on the internet, what not to do on the internet, because there's a lot of predators out there, and not just about our information.
It's a very valid point, and it is scary. As you were saying, we were talking about this, and probably, first off, I'm appreciative of my son's school being 9, that they actually taught him internet safety. So they actually have some issues that they told the whole class, this is inappropriate, you cease and desist. Now, you never have a guarantee, But the only rule I've been able to establish with him is the fact that anytime he's on something, that I need to see it no matter what. So is there anything, do you learn stuff like that in the Enigma series? Are you able to read your series and go, wow, maybe I could do this on my kid's tablet, or maybe I could do, does it help you, or is it just something you have in your head because you're just so good at it?
Yeah, well, thank you. It's not a how-to kind of book. So it's definitely created as a fiction, but it does remind you the areas that you need to think about. And one is invulnerable. So the first book in the series is identity theft. That's the focus of the story. And the person who is impacted by the identity theft is our hero. Now, our hero is an expert in technology. So even an expert in technology can lose track of something and get caught. So no one is above that, I guess, is the underlying message. You just have to be very diligent. You lost your credit card to a stewardess.
Yeah.
I have seen chips. Everybody's got a chip in their credit card now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And chips have an awful lot of information on them. I've seen them on the floor in the mall, and they've fallen out of a card and no one realizes it. And the card, the plastic is nothing. What you want is the chip. So if people can collect those chips, they can get your information.
Wow. I want to take a break here because I want to really get into, what you know and what you see, and probably something that nobody else notices because they're not paying attention to it. But we're going to take a break and really get into this Enigma series, find out about the heroes and the characters and how this wonderful author, Rox Burkey, writer of the Enigma series, when we come back just after this.
Thanks.
All right, drink time.
Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug.
I can't believe you found a chip on the floor. I would have probably stepped right on it. No.
More than one. It's not hard. If you start looking now, you'll look at parking lots, you'll find them. It's not,
Wow.
It's just crazy. I think it was a good idea originally, but the quality of the cards are not probably as good as they need to be sometimes,
Yeah. Crazy.
What started as a love letter to her son has become an international love letter for all parents to their children. Now you can read acclaimed author Shanalee Sharboneau's story to your children. When her son was very sick, she calmed him by singing her own song to him. She turned that song into the book, My Mama Loves Me, I'm Her Little Boy. She wrote 3 more magical books for all parents and kids 6 and under. Available at Indie Lecter, Amazon, and all local and national outlets.
Hello, I am the author and poet Denise Bryson. I am the author of The Things That Cross My Mind, Love's Reality, both in book and audio form. I am also noted as one of the best poets of 2011. I have 2 new projects coming up. One is the Blinky series, where Blinky tells us all about our coins and our bills for our children. I also have a book coming out called Say Ye. It's quotes from Denise Bryson, just inspirational and that will help you along the way.
Thank you for watching or listening to this show. Indie Lecter is proud to sponsor this programming. As a thank you for listening or watching, we would like to give you a 10% coupon code that you can use on our bookstore at indielecter.store. Use coupon code video19. Again, that's indielecter.store, coupon code video19 for a 10% discount on any purchase. Thank you.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow.
Good evening, y'all. My name is Shanalee Sharboneau, better known as the Shanalee, but that's not the great thing about this evening's show tonight. We're actually talking to a very talented, awarded author by the name of Rox Burkey, writer of the Enigma series. Welcome back, Rox.
Oh, thank you, Shanalee.
Yeah, absolutely. So man, you have me hooked here. I mean, you've hit a stressor of trying to protect information, experience we've all had. Somebody took it. They shouldn't have taken it. Protecting our children. So what, give us a teaser now. Now I'm really interested in this Enigma series and the characters in it and what happens.
Let's see, a little bit of a teaser. So first of all, I mean, if people are going to find us, they're going to find us writing as Breakfield and Burkey, because I do have a co-author, even though he's not here in this call this evening. But, I think some of the teasers are, we have a lot of characters that are in the series, but the main characters of the R group are contemporaries, that are, 30s to 45 years old, because they've got experience in technology. Jacob Michaels is the primary hero, and he comes in to all of the books, but he is the one who actually had the identity theft attack on himself, and he did end up resolving it. But it's interesting as to how he resolved it, and it took him going to Zurich to be able to get to the bad guys and make that work. So the heroes in the series have a certain capability from a technology perspective. There's programmers, security gurus, and there's the gentleman who actually builds the supercomputer that the group uses. And the supercomputer is a character that evolves throughout the entire series, and his name is Ichabod. And Ichabod does in fact change and morph because he gets more technology over time, just like other supercomputers that we have today around us. There was a study and a testing phase that Microsoft went through several years ago, where they wanted to see how machine learning could be done. And so they pointed everything at the social media that we have floating above us in the cloud. And so after, I don't know, it was under 36 hours, it had to be pulled down because the machine learning was so biased because of social media that they didn't think it was going to actually have the right kind of learning that they wanted to make decisions. So they decided to get some other data sources. So we have a huge amount of data floating around, whether it is your pictures, all the documents from businesses, and then we have, of course, the social media that has grown like a tsunami over time. There's some that supposedly you can put images on one social media now and they disappear. Well, I don't believe anything ever disappears from the internet. It may be hiding, but it's not going to disappear. And so that's kind of how we attack these different things. And so, our newest focus right now is on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And what happens to the builders and creators of that supercomputer that's at play? Did the creators put guardrails in so that we're safe? Is that data being shared with anyone else? And if you kind of think about some of the news items that have come up lately as to where data is and where it's being given or taken or stored or whatever, all of it's there. And maybe some of it goes to the highest bidder.
Wow. You're giving me chills because, we fear this AI situation happening. And God, I mean, what if you could really get into people's minds to understand that maybe something that's being created in the future for AI is learning from social media and how that would change things? I mean, it would, if you really understood that, I don't know if you'd post again, if you change your post, if you spent more than a millisecond thinking about what you're posting, but that's frightening.
But it's true. And to be honest with you, I don't think, especially the younger generation now, I don't think that they have that vulnerability thing that we all have when we were young, right? Nothing can hurt us. Nobody's going to get us. We're fine. It happens over there. It doesn't happen over here. But because of the connectedness of people, they are so device dependent. It is really, really hard to not be a victim or be a target. Computers are hacked all the time. Ransomware is a big deal. One of the biggest hacker organizations, after they made several $100 million, finally closed up shop and said, we have enough now to last the rest of our lives. So we're going to close up shop. We're not going to sell our programs to anybody else. It's big business. It's not a small business. The price to get someone's date of birth, someone's social security number, and someone's full name, is pretty cheap these days, and it's up for sale.
Well, you have me hooked. I mean, just talking to you and going into your world and understanding it. First off, congratulations. This Enigma series, it's received 5 stars after 5. I mean, every book, 5 stars, 5 stars. And it's not 2 reviews. It's many reviews. So congratulations on that. You have a new book coming out on the Enigma series, and it's ready for pre-order. Can you talk a little bit about where people can get connected to the pre-order book and where is it at?
So the pre-order is actually going to be live in December. The target selling date is going to be the first full week in January. So they will be able to start seeing a lot of buzz on social media with regards to the Enigma Beyond. And it's about who wins the AI wars. So kind of a whole different perspective of what guardrails could be or couldn't be, and who is behind potentially the greed.
And this is book number?
This is book number 11. And it's interesting, the series, people think of a series and they go, oh, okay, well, we have to read it in order. And I will admit, it is much richer because some of the characters grow and come back and they have relationships and, they evolve just like people do, including Ichabod. But they are written in such a way that, let's say, Shanalee, you just got so enamored and so excited about cryptocurrency that you just wanted to read that one. You could read it and enjoy it because they've been written to be read out of order as well.
Wow. Fantastic. I mean, I want to read them all, but I know that I probably would, mitigate to the one that interests me the most, especially this AI thing. I'm still stuck on that. So I apologize if I'm tripping on my words because I'm still there in front of my Twitter feed wondering what I should type. But you've won awards too.
That's right.
Talk about that. What have you won?
Oh, so, it's remarkable. Actually, our award sequence started out in a very, very positive way with Texas Authors, which is an organization that I'm a member of. And it was a good jumping point for us. And then we've picked up many other awards. This year, especially, the Enigma Source has picked up 9 different awards, not only Texas Authors, but also the CEPA Award, some global international awards. So it's been a really, really positive experience. Unfortunately, it also has the least amount of reviews, and you were mentioning reviews earlier. It gets harder and harder for authors to receive reviews on their books. So, I can tell you that every author wants to have reviews, whether they're an independent published author or whether they're a traditional. The more reviews and honest reviews, the better it goes. So, yes, the awards have been really, really fun and exciting, and we love them. We've been fortunate to get some short story awards as well because we are actually focusing on doing a short story anthology with backstories to the series.
Wow. Well, let's take a break because I have more questions after this. We are talking to the lovely, very talented, and multi-awarded author Rox Burkey, and we'll be back right after this.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to care for a loved one? I'm Charlotte Canyon, award-winning author of the book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, How to Parent Your Parents. That was a question I had to ask myself some 16 years ago, and you'll have to ask the same question. I had a father-in-law with dementia, a mother with Alzheimer's, and a dad with Parkinson, all at the same time.
What would you do if you found out everyone on the town council were thieves and murderers? That's what happened in Bandera, Texas in 1873. John Cruder was the marshal, yet he needed to operate outside the law in order to balance the scales of justice. He is the Midnight Marauder. You can find his books on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com in paperback, digital, and audio. I'm Roy Clinton, and I hope you'll read The Midnight Marauder.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
Hello, everyone. We're back. This is Shanalee Sharboneau, but we are really talking to the very interesting, and will stay what she said in this interview with me for a long time, Rox Burkey, the co-author of the Enigma series. So, man, I don't know if I want to thank you, or I'm kind of sad I did this interview because now I know too much like you do. And not even a smidgen what I'm sure what goes on in your brain. So we might have to talk more later. Where are you going to be? Do you have any appearances coming up? Where your I think your book's available. You have a birthday special. Happy birthday, by the way, coming up. You have a birthday special. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because
Birthday and Christmas special, we're actually doing personalized signing for the whole series and shipping in the continental U.S. for free at a reduced rate. It'll be on the website tomorrow. Our website is enigmaseries.com. We are going to be in December appearing in a Richardson venue that I just learned about earlier today. So it hasn't made it up to our calendar of events yet, but it will shortly. And then in January, we have a kind of a private event. In February, we will be at North Texas Comic Book Convention again in Irving. That's a really fun place. If you like cosplay, it's a great place to go. And then I believe it's May at the Texas Book Festival in Seguin. I may not have that name specifically correct, but there's lots of items. And on our website, there's a calendar that keeps track of the events. So those are the ones that are coming up. And of course, the pre-order for the Enigma Beyond will be focused on the ebook, and it will have the new book trailer because all the books have a book trailer, and then it will be available in Audible, paperback, and ebook in case people like to do it differently. Some of these long road trips, Audible is just perfect, but Audible is only available for our books on either iTunes or Amazon.
Nice. And you're going to be at the Lone Star Book Festival in Seguin. Is that what you're saying? You believe?
Yeah.
They're awesome. I know that's a fun one. So
well, we just did the Pecan Fest, which was the October event there, and I mean it was great. It was absolutely awesome. So lots of fun to meet people. I love talking to people, and honestly, Charles does too. Anything to shake hands with readers and get them interested.
So is 11 it? Do we know?
Oh no.
Oh, that's exciting.
Combat's halfway done. Of course, that's only a working title at this point, but the Enigma Combat is in the works.
Wow. So, looking back on the series, looking back on your life and kind of, pulling the curtain over that people, hide behind, would you change anything? Would you still write the Enigma series?
I would actually write the Enigma series, but I would have done it differently. Now, I don't know, is that as an author in these days and times, especially an indie author, there are things you learn along the way. So it is resulting in releasing some of the books as second editions because I've learned. You know, you learn and grow. Plus, after 10 books, 11 books, now soon 12 next year, you know, you get better. It's like practice. It's got to keep practicing to get better.
Just like AI, looking at the Twitter feed.
That's it, man. It's that machine learning or the human learning.
So, Rox, again, your anticipated release of this book is December.
It'll release in January. Pre-order will be open in December, and it will be all over Twitter, Facebook, and on our website, and we'll be emailing out.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a joy, though I won't get a wink of sleep this evening. Rox Burkey, nationally, internationally awarded author, co-author of the Enigma series. Y'all have a good night. Be good to each other. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.